And welcome to the Comic Corner. Happy Turkey Day, everyone. It's a wonderful day full of gravy and hopefully not dry poultry and
Full of
cranberry
gravy.
sauce.
That was the first thing that
Is
came to your mind was gravy.
gravy? Yeah, man. What is the first thing that comes to your mind? Dry
I
poultry?
mean, hey, I love a good
Get out of
gravy.
here.
Just a little weird. That's the first thing you thought of was gravy.
How is it not as the thing that makes the turkey good?
If you can't cook a good turkey, I guess.
Oh, well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We're recording this on a lovely Thanksgiving morning. There's floats going by. Hopefully, your day is going better than the Bluey balloon, which went kablooey yesterday. But up bum. Yes, all the puns intended.
R.I.P. Bluey.
R.I.P. Bluey. The children were very sad. But you know what the children are not sad about? By the way, my name is Damon. This is my buddy, TJ, aka Fat Thor. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. I just realized that our names aren't up here at this time, so
I just realized that too.
we have to introduce ourselves to everybody. But yeah, I'm doing good,
It's
man.
true.
I mean,
There
like
we
you
are.
said, there we go. Now people know who we are. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. Got, like you said, Turkey Day. Gonna make some food later. I got my little, I don't know if you can see it on camera here. Got my little, like, Santa coffee cup here. We're very
you have one
festive.
more day to Santa.
Yeah, well, we start a little early. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. How you doing today?
Great, because you know what the kids are not sad about? New comic book day. And that's what we're here to discuss is all these great comic books that came out. Slice up that turkey because Absolute Wonder Woman is out here with a big sword and she is going a walloping on a lot of things. We got a gang war in Bloodhaven. I'm actually really digging this new Nightwing run, guys. I'm digging it. I am. And we have a new Sorcerer Supreme in town. Ultimate Black Panther, the latest issue dropped. And we have a new Sorcerer Supreme. Who is she? Who are they? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But first, I teased you with this, TJ. I teased you with this. We have some news. Some more rumors. Gossipy rumor mill. Let me hear what you think about this. You ready? Allegedly, possibly next year, Batman and Superman will be rebooting again. Again, starting all the way, another number one. We're going full Marvel at DC with these two titles.
Yay!
Possibly lining up with the release of the new Superman movie after the Hush 2 Batman kind of story arc. We may be restarting all the way from Superman 1 and Batman 1 over there. What do you think about this? Possibly. What do you think this what would you make of this in a way? Because this isn't confirmed. This is gossip. This is a rumor.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of feelings on it because, like, on one hand, I'm just like I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of like runs starting, restarting. I'll throw out the example of, and this is a book that I absolutely love, so it doesn't change the fact. But I'll throw out Scarlet Witch as an example. We had the original Scarlet Witch run, then Scarlet Witch Quicksilver, and now a new. But it's all the same run. So I'm kind of sick of the rebooting for no reason other than to sell a new number one issue. But big but on the flip side of that, I also am a person who has not been keeping up with Batman or Superman for a long time. So for me, something like a new number one is kind of appealing because that makes me feel like it's a good jumping in point to where I could go back to Batman and Superman on like a fresh kind of slate. But, and then the but to that though is, again, I am also a big fan of like letting the writers cook, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm Joshua Williamson is doing Superman right now.
Still doing it. We have a whole run.
Yeah.
New issue came out this week. We will not be talking about this issue this week because we have so many books. I had to cut down on some of them to keep us like within 10. But it's a great issue. It's a fantastic issue, and it's continuing. It's essentially the second part of his run he's been going through, his second long saga. Now I'm a little worried that if it does restart, like, are we going to have to rush this?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like I want to see Williamson's vision come to fruition completely, like him to complete whatever he's cooking up. So that is another thing that kind of off puts me on it is, again, I want to see Williamson's run Even though I'm not reading it, like I said, I'm just a very big proponent on letting an artist execute their vision. So if that's the case, then I'm not a fan. But if they let Williamson wrap everything up and they're kind of starting fresh with a new number one and leading up to the movie, that I can be more game for.
I'll say this. DC is traditionally very good about not overdoing the rebooting, the restarting of legacy run numbers, right? And I don't think this is a new legacy run number, but they've really only done it on a large scale twice, right? New 52 and Rebirth afterwards. Like we're on Nightwing 120 or something at this point. Like we're so far ahead. And that's since Rebirth, right? It would be weird to me to reboot it again if we're not doing like a whole new, again, giant saga. So unless something is happening next year that reboots the whole giant saga again, which we shouldn't because we have this whole all in, right? Like it seems like a weird time to do it if this is true. So I'm almost not fully buying into this rumor because of that, because it seems like a weird time to do it. And also because of that, right? I am someone who likes to collect the trades, the volumes. Marvel's actually pretty good about putting like 1, 2, 3 on the volumes, but that's just per the run, right? Like Steve Orlando's will have like 1, 2, 3 for Scarlet Witch, right? Same thing when the She-Hulk run came out from Rainbow Rowell. It was like 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, even though it reset itself once in between there. DC doesn't put the numbers on it because it just has the legacy issue numbers on. It's like this collects 78 through 85. This collects 86 through 92, right? It's easier to follow that way. And you just have to tell someone to be like, just start at 78. It's a whole new run. Go from there. You go forward. It's fine. And then you can to go back now and be like, okay, so you want Superman volumes 1 through 3, but then you want Superman volume 1 through 3 again. It makes it extra confusing, right? It's weird. I don't like that. That's my biggest gripe with it. So I hope this isn't true because one, like I just mentioned, I really like this direction that Joshua Williamson's going in. It feels like this is a whole new giant saga with Superman that we have going on. And also, too, it's my legacy numberings, man. At the very least, still include legacy numbering somewhere on there. Like, Anyway, let's talk about a book that I was very much anticipating. We talked to Mr. Mark Waid. I talked to Mr. Mark Waid about this in anticipation of it. You can check out our interview right here on the Agents of Fandom Network. This is Justice League Unlimited, and this is exactly what the title is. This is written by Mark Waid, art Dan Mora, colors Tamara Bonvillain, and letter Ariana Maher. This is an unlimited Justice League. Everyone's involved. There is no one who is just completely off limits. It is fantastic because of that. You get to see anyone you want from an A-list team, which we get an A-list team right here. You know, you have your Trinity, your Batman, Superman, your Wonder Woman, but then you also get like Airwave, who's like D-list at the most D possible, right? It's so cool to see just like all these potential characters being involved in this story. Now, this is a very high-flying first issue. It's cool, man. It's cool. I don't want to get too much into spoilers because I just kind of want to sell you on it. But essentially how it works is Justice League is assembling itself. Red Tornado is kind of like the big AI overarching, you guys go here, they need help here. Hey, there's a problem over here in Japan. You guys go over here. Oh, there's a problem over here in Costa Rica. I'm sending a team over here. There's all these little teams that are just kind of going everywhere. It almost makes me want to be like, ooh, I want to follow what that team's doing. That's a fascinating team over here. But then eventually you follow like the alpha team, your Superman, your Batman, your Wonder Woman, Black Lightning, Kid Flash, and they're off doing their thing, right? And they go to South Africa. So AF will be very happy to see a little South Africa promo in there. A little,
let's go.
There we go.
Shout out AF.
To deal with an issue going on there, Airwave gets a cool moment, but then there's a little twist at the end that I was not expecting. And it broke my ding dang little heart, but I am hooked, dude. I am hooked on this book. It's high flying. It feels like a little bit classic Justice League, but also just like you have all the toys in front of you, man. All of them. Literally sandbox mode. Go crazy. Like I heard in an interview, Mark Waid brought up Xanthi from Spirit World is like on the table. I'm like, that's great
I
because
love it.
we had like all these characters that were introduced like a year or so ago, and I'm like, man, what happened? Or 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh man, what happened to them? Boom, on cards on the table. Great, thumbs up. Go read this, guys.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's super fun.
I love it, dude. Bring in everyone. Why the hell not? And it's like I love, especially with like such a rich world of like DC. It's like leverage that, dude. You know what I mean? Like you have so many characters to play with. Like I love seeing people like really leverage the universe that they're playing in. And I mean, who does it better than Mark Waid? I was a little tangent here. I'll keep this quick, but it's so funny that you just interviewed him because like the last 3 or 4 articles I've written, Mark Waid is just popping up everywhere. Like I'm like, damn, there's
doing
so
a lot, dude.
There's so
He
many
has done a
questions.
lot
Like I just did he did the second Deadpool solo series, his second ever solo series, which he had a great couple issues there. Do you know that he also I'm pretty sure created the One Above All? I didn't know that until the other day. So dude, shout out Mark Waid. We gotta get him back on the show because I got some questions for him next time.
All right. Yeah, shout out Mark Waid. This is a really cool first issue. Again, DC all in. I am all in on DC's initiative. Speaking of all in, speaking of absolutely all in, speaking of interviews we've done in the past, also, hey, Kelly Thompson. We were one of the first people to ever interview Kelly about this Absolute Wonder Woman book, so go check that out as well. This is Absolute Wonder Woman #2. Writer Kelly Thompson, artist Hayden Sherman, colorist Jordy Belair, and letter Rebecca Carey. This is, again, a great, great issue. I think there's only one thing in here, and I may be in a little bit of minority. We bring Steve into the picture, and I'm like, okay. But outside of that, so cool, dude. It's so cool. It's the way Kelly even writes the Steve stuff. I'm like, all right. This works. This still works with the twist of where Wonder Woman has come from, right? You have to imagine now, TJ. This isn't a Steve who washed up in paradise. He had to wash up somewhere else for them to meet, right?
Hell.
So, how does
Steve,
that
like
change a dynamic there, right? No,
dude.
he's still the same. But how does that change like the dynamic and all of that, right? And also, we get Diana just being like 3 feet taller than some like generals, some American generals who are dealing with these kaijus washing up onto the shore. Great imagery of just like how just tall, behemothly tall Diana is compared to just all these war generals, which is hilarious.
Tall lady.
But the last page is just kind of like we've seen in the first issue, right? We had like this big kaiju thing come up on the shore, and Wonder Woman has her big sword and her Pegasus, who's a skeleton, and going up against it. She deals with that. But that was just a warning for something bigger to come. And what can be bigger than a big kaiju? A bigger kaiju. And the way that Hayden Sherman drew this thing at the end is terrifying and just so cool. So hats off to Hayden Sherman. Hats off to Kelly Thompson.
I was gonna say, shout out Hayden Sherman. I love his art so much, and you will probably remember a book that we covered a while ago. Into the Unbeing was his book before this. Which, if you want to see some like crazy monster, like creepy kind of stuff, which it seems like we're getting a similar flavor here in Wonder Woman. definitely go check out Into the Unbeing. But I cannot wait to read the second issue. I loved issue 1 so much, and I told you I might have even liked it even more than Absolute Batman. So I am like super excited to pick up this second Wonder Woman, and I'm just so excited. I can't wait to get like 20 more issues into this. 30, 40, 50. However many you will give me, Kelly, I will take them, because like I said, that first issue just knocked my socks off.
Y'all go pick this up. Go pick this up. We're not done with DC though. We have a few more to go.
No, sir.
TJ.
Look at
Batman, the
me
Brave and the
with the
Bold.
DC pick today.
Look at all these writers and artists on this book. Good gravy.
Yes. So, I mean, we got a lot of great stories in here. We got a fun one with Wonder Woman and Plastic Man. But the real story that I picked this issue up for is the one with Zaz. So that's going to be written by a friend of the show, Rich Dueck. You can go check out our previous interview with him on his previous book, Phone Call Away. But he wrote the story in here with Zaz, and it was just freaking awesome, dude. It's like a dark, gritty Batman story, which we've talked before. That's like my kind of flavor for Bat stories. And something that I really love about it is it deals with one of the most interesting questions I always think of when consuming Batman content, is that where is the line of when his moral code conflicts with his mission of like saving the city and saving Gotham. And so it follows this like a not an AA group, but like a support group of people who have been not killed, obviously, but like hurt by the Zaz, the criminal. So like he killed their family. This one lady's like in a wheelchair, and they're like, yeah, like Batman kind of freaking sucks. Like if he would have just killed Zaz, like none of us would be here. My family would still be alive. Yada yada yada. And then Zaz shows up to come back to get the people that survived and like get the rest of his victims. So he like comes into this AA group. And I won't go through the whole issue, but it's just so good. Again, I really love like kind of thinking and playing with that concept of, I mean, people have brought it up plenty of times. Like if Batman were to kill the Joker, how many people would he be saving that the Joker would eventually kill or hurt or whatever it may be? So it was just a really great story. I really loved it. Again, it really hit that Batman vein for me. And it's packed in the middle of a bunch of other great stories as well. So you really can't go wrong with this. It has every story has a flavor for everybody. But yeah, the Zaz one, Rich Dueck, for sure the best one.
All right, Batman, the Brave and the Bold. A lot of writers, a lot of artists. Go check it out. Absolutely. All right, we're continuing with the DC kick. This is Nightwing, issue 120. Writer Dan Waters, Dexter Soy, art Veronica Gandini, colorist and Wes Abbott, letterer. I've talked about a lot. We had a whole episode during New York Comic Con where I just talked about the finale of Nightwing, Tom Taylor's Nightwing, Bruno Redondo's Nightwing, and how that entire run just meant the world to me. And I don't want to say there was skepticism going into this new Dan Waters run, right? But there is definitely like high expectations, and Dan Waters, even at New York Comic Con, discussed that because those are some big shoes to fill. But you just still have to tell the story you want to tell. And I think this is such a natural progression from Tom Taylor's run to what Dan Waters is telling. I think the progression, the evolution here is seamless. So that is a huge feat on its own to get through. And Dan Waters has successfully done that very well. This does not feel like I'm reading a completely different character. This still feels like I'm living in this world that I've lived through the last few years, but this is just the fallout of that last issue of that Tom Taylor run. We're dealing with the direct fallout of it. There is a gang war. There's a power struggle. And it's not just between the interpersonal gangs of all of them trying to fill in Blockbuster's shoes by the end, but also a very corrupt military police force trying to come in and take control over it and put their footprint on. And that's what this run has to deal with. And it's just great. I hate to use hyperbole on this, but it's very well written. It truly is. I will also add that maybe for some in the past may have missed a little bit of the quippiness of Nightwing. Nightwing is a very quippy character, sometimes compared with Spider-Man with the quips. We got a lot of Nightwing quips in this, a lot of back and forth, a lot of snark, and even Barbara, who is primarily Oracle so far in this run, a little snarky too, a little quippy too as well. So there is some good humor, but also some dark, tragic turns. And where this issue left off, I could see like when Dan Waters was describing what Nightwing was getting himself into, I was about to be like, oh, I don't know. From a very broad point of view, I was like, oh, I don't. This will be interesting to see because that is a little bit of turn. But again, guys, you read the book and you're like, this makes sense. I totally get why Dick Grayson is putting himself in this situation, helping people out you would not expect to help out, right? It's very well done. Dexter Soy's art in here is fantastic. Yes. Hey, we get some night booty, some Dick Grayson booty on the cover, but in a very tasteful manner, right? In a very tasteful manner.
It's not a
It's very
Nightwing
well.
book if it doesn't have some Nightwing cheeks.
Very first page, by the way. It's just right in your face.
Booty cheeks.
But in a tasteful way. Guys, it's great. I am.
Booty cheeks.
It took 2 issues. I'm sold on this new run. I'm sold on it. I'm very excited to see how this whole thing's going to play out. We have a current, like kind of like mafia, military-esque, police-esque force villain, but then somebody above them that is like real that we've only gotten little teases of, right? So it tells me that even if we're done through this first one, we still have another level to go after that it gets much bigger than this.
Man behind the curtain type deal.
Yes. Guys, go read this. Go read this. It's
Go.
comic books, man. Comic books. They're great. And this book so far is
this.
2 for 2.
I want to read this, dude. So weird. I love Nightwing, like probably one of my favorite DC characters, and I've read like nothing. I mean, like Batman books with Nightwing I have, but I know, man. I know. I read the first couple of Tom Taylor's, and I didn't drop off because I didn't like it. Just I pick up way too many books to. Unfortunately, I can't pull everything as much as I want to.
And here's a suggestion for everyone, because I know money is a factor. Obviously, comic books are not cheap. Unfortunately, this is not a money-friendly hobby. However, there are a lot of ways to help legally, and one of them is going to your local library. Everyone, your local library has a lot of comics in trade paperback form and hardcover form and omnibus form, and not just physically, but also digitally. A lot of libraries these days have partnerships with a service like Hoopla, where you can go and you get like 3, 4, sometimes 5 pulls a month, and you can use that on an entire omnibus for a whole month. And that's one pull. You just pulled all those comics as one of them for a whole omnibus. So there's my shout out for that. If you're trying to catch up to get into this Nightwing run, I don't think you necessarily need to read the entire Tom Taylor run, because this is a whole new run, right? That's the whole point of comics. So you can jump in at 119 and go from there. But if you want to start out at 78 from Tom Taylor's run into Leaping into the Light, go from there and move on forward, because it's a great time. On to Marvel, my friend. On to Marvel.
Yeah,
this is our only Marvel book of the week. This is our only Marvel book of the week.
I haven't read this one yet, but I love this run.
I already teased it already at first, but yes, we do get a reveal of who our new Ultimate Sorceress Supreme is. And TJ, what if I told you it appears this is a brand new original character?
Oh, hell yeah. I love that. I don't know why when you said sorceress, I immediately thought Clea. I don't know. Maybe that's a stupid answer, but I was like, that's just where my mind went. I was like, not that it would be lame, but I really wanted like someone out of the box. You know what I mean? Like, holy crap, this is the Sorcerer Supreme. So if it is original character, I personally kind of really dig that.
We don't know much about this character yet. We know her name is Inan, and she was just kind of held captive for a while for reasons. We don't know much about her. My theory, if I want to go crazy on a theory and make her somebody outside of just an original character, which, by the way, I'm totally cool if she's an original character who has absolutely no ties to any version of any Marvel character ever. However, if I am to just kind of go a little crazy and I'm looking at her final page reveal suit, we have the cloak that she has on, right? The cloak of levitation, but also rocking more of a purple attire, which is very Clea.
Agatha?
So, no, it's very Clea. So, maybe she is like the potential Doctor Strange Clea child sorceress supreme
I would
in
like
this
that. That's
universe.
cool.
Potentially. I don't know. I'm spitballing at that point.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool, by the way, if she is like a totally original character. But
And when
yeah,
I said, I was sorry, I just was gonna say when I said like my thought of Clea would be kind of like I didn't necessarily mean lame. I just feel like it's like a obvious choice. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange isn't, then it's Clea, right? So I just thought it was a little obvious, but I would still, if this does turn out to be Ultimate Clea, I won't be upset about it. I'll still be hyped. But the original character interests me, I think, the most.
I definitely don't think she is Clea, but possibly like the child of her
Child,
and
that would be
Doctor
sick.
Strange, I think would be like the
Mm-hmm.
best 1-2 combo with that. Outside of that, outside of Clea stuff, this book has continued to be very interesting. I know some people have possibly criticized this for being a little bit all over the place. I binge read 1 through 9, and when I read all of them, like just like one after another, because this deals with so much lore and almost the entire continent of Africa, there's a lot that it has to manage with like the Moon Knight stuff, the Khonshu stuff, the vibranium stuff. And what I will really give it a praise for this whole run is that it went into a direction I was not expecting it to, which is magic in the cosmos and all that stuff and gods. Like, I was not expecting, I mean, the god stuff makes sense because it's Black Panther, but like the magic side, I was not fully expecting it to really embrace, and it has. So I've been all in on this now for after I binge read 1 through 9, and I'm excited for more. We get more potential stuff with like the final war between Black Panther and Khonshu. So it's cool, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're gonna enjoy this book.
That's a surprising criticism for me. I haven't really felt like I feel like it's been pretty streamlined with, like you said,
I
the
agree.
Kanchi stuff and
Yeah,
everything. But I mean, hey,
yeah.
I'm not everyone's everyone's mind, right? So yeah, I
Hey,
don't know. I
internet
think
people get internet.
it's been pretty straightforward, pretty streamlined. But yeah, like you said, I love it. I think it gives me both like classic Black Panther vibes, where like we talk about T'Challa is king again, he's the leader of Wakanda, but it's also taken some big swings with the mysticism stuff and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, go pick it up, people. Go read it.
So far, we're like 6 for 6 on go pick it ups.
Go pick up everything.
Everything. All right.
Everything.
On to Boom Studios, into our indies. This is Hello Darkness. We've been keeping up with this. This is issue number 5. It's an anthology, so we have a lot of writers, a lot of artists, a lot of colorists, a lot of letters. There is just one story in particular I want to talk about. TJ, you can talk about one if you want afterwards. But for me, the highlight of this entire run is Garth Ennis's and Becky Cloonan's The War. Because every other story in here deals with like the spook, the gore, the body horror, something, right? That's where the horror comes from. The Garth Ennis story deals with the horrors of legit reality. And that is the most terrifying thing to me, is the things that not only could be real, but like could be real sooner than we would all like it to be, right? So we are
Dude.
now in, yeah, I think this is part 4 or 5 of it. And we have essentially gone through, we've seen like the entire shebang of all the terrible things where like the war, the bomb finally drops, and then New York City gets attacked, and then all like the friends who were in New York City, we had to see them try to survive that attack for a whole issue. Didn't bear well for them. And now we are dealing in this issue with the friend who I hate to say was like in the I told you so situation, the one who was prepared, the one who was worried about everything and avoided being in a major area. Well, now him and his wife, who is pregnant, have to survive after the world has gone to crap and nobody's happy. So it's like, even in survival, life isn't life without happiness. And it's just, ugh, scary crap, man.
Dude, that last page, I'm like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. I'd say that's probably my favorite of like, obviously it's one of the only ones that's continuing through almost every issue.
Yeah.
But yo, that one with the butterflies was crazy. The
one with
first
no
one,
words either. So you're trying to like
yes.
you're trying to dissect it
Mm-hmm.
and really look at it, and it's a trip.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff, like just like pure visual storytelling, like no word
Mm-hmm.
bubbles at all. I enjoy that. I always think that's very creative way to get through a point, but this one I liked it, dude. It was cool, creepy, one of those where it ends and you're like, whoa, like what did I just see? So that in this one, like I said, I agree overall the war one is the best, but I liked that one in this one, and the one in the woods too. Again, another like very short story, kind of just spooky campfire story,
That
but
was very
I
Sarah
loved it.
Anderson. You remember the first issue where we had the lighthouse?
Yes, and I
Same,
love that
same.
one too.
Yeah.
That was like my
Yep.
favorite one of
That was
that.
Sarah
So
Anderson. The butterfly one that you're talking about was Jeremy Bastion with art of Z and Q. That's what I like about these anthologies. You know, not every single story may hit with you every single time, but every now and then there's like a couple in there. It's like, ooh, that one
yeah,
was like visually appealing or cool or creepy. But man, that Garth Ennis one still just F's me up every time. Every time. I hate to say this may be my favorite book of the week, but
oh,
this was so fun and wild and just crazy. I hate using that word,
it
but
was
it was
pretty
crazy.
crazy.
This is Red Before Black, Boom Studios, Stephanie Phillips, Goran Suzuka, colorist Eve Savorchina, and letterer Tom Napolitano. Guys, if you like the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy dynamic, this is what it was sold on, and this is delivered, especially this issue. Like, what fun. What fun left field. You have no idea when you turn the corner into a new building what's going to happen. Great time. Great time. TJ, what'd you make about this book?
I really enjoyed it. I kind of similar to last week. I'm pretty sure I missed issue 2
You did
because I
miss
was
issue 2.
okay. Yeah, because I was like, wait, what? But I mean, like you said, I just roll with it. So I really enjoyed it. The stuff at the end, like with the creepiness, I was like, whoa, what is going on here? But like I said, I loved it. The dynamic between the two main characters, I really enjoy. I'm excited to dive more into that as we go forward. I forget what her name is, but
Val is the
yeah.
one who's the former military
Okay, no, the
veteran.
blonde lady, the one who like
I want to say
kidnaps her.
Lou?
I don't know. She's funny though, but I like their
She's fun.
dynamic. Yeah,
It's very like Ivy Harley Quinn
yeah, for
dynamic.
sure.
And at the very end, we have a little alligator named Winston.
Yep, and dude, Winston is about to be the goat. But yeah, I really love it. I like the main character too. I've been on a kind of action movie kick lately, so she
Oh,
gives me a
Leo.
total
I was close. Leo.
Leo. There we go. But yeah, so she gives me like a total like kind of action movie, like the badass military person who comes home and like trying to make a life for themselves. So I dig that, and I'm definitely gonna go back and read issue 2 so I have a better idea of what's going on. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. favorite of the week, though. That's a big praise.
It's up there. I don't think it is my absolute, but this is the one where like I'm kind of like smiling the whole time, but also like ooh, like during the harsher moments and stuff, or the more serious moments, you're like ooh, you're feeling it. But then when like the funnier things, like when Winston gets involved, like I actually like had a pretty good chuckle at like that came out. So I had fun with this issue. Really suggest picking this up, guys. Boom Studios puts out good books. Go check them out. Go read them. Mad Cave. This is our last book of the week in our indies. This is Synap. I wanted to bring up a synopsis of this real quick, and I accidentally got out of this to bring it up. Okay. In the year 2030, a family-run private defense company, Synap, secretly puts together the pieces of a mysterious giant robot while training psychically gifted individuals to one day control it. However, with the startling increase in UFO sightings, the family finds their time is running out to assemble the ancient machine. This is from writer Chris Moses, Andrea Giannini, James Alfredi, and Reed Hinckley Barnes, on who's the colorist, and letterer James, the colorist, Reed, the letterer. This for me, I'll be honest, before I go to you, didn't quite sell what the synopsis gave me. I feel like for a first issue, we often talk about, did the first issue hook me in? Did it sell you? Did it raise our intrigue at all? And there was like maybe one page when someone's in a submarine and they go down to the ocean, they see this blue whale, and all of a sudden they crash beneath, and there's like this whole like undersea dinosaur wildness going on there. I'm like, I want to know more of that, and that's all we kind of got at, right? Other than that, maybe not for me, but was it for you?
I feel like I'm kind of in a similar boat to you, but I am in like it interested me to figure out like what the hell is this robot? You know what I mean? And I think again, I don't disagree with you. I just think that this first issue, for a first issue, could have gave us just maybe a little bit more information. Like I feel like I can see what they're doing. Like this first issue is very much like setting up the mystery, kind of like, here are our players, this is kind of what's going on, but we don't really get any kind of inkling of what actually is going on. So I think that it could have, like I said, given the reader maybe just a tiny bit more information to, like you said, really sink that hook in. But as someone who is a sci-fi like nerd and like sci-fi mystery, I definitely will pick up the next issue to, like I said, see like what's going on with this robot. And like you said, like that big ass eye in the ocean, I was like, oh yeah, like let's go. I love that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more of that kind of stuff, a little bit more of like, who left this robot? Where did the robot come from? So yeah, not 1,000,000% sold yet, but I'm intrigued for sure.
Okay. All right. At least I'll say for me, I did have to when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh, this book makes a little bit more sense now.
Yeah. No, I didn't read the synopsis either. So I went into it just like, what the hell is going on? These kids are tripping on LSD and stuff, but it all makes sense, people.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, it's
Not
fun
in
though.
a theoretical way.
If you like robot stuff, like kind of futuristic kind of mystery stuff, I definitely think you should pick this up. And I mean, we got a giant robot, so I'm assuming in later issues we'll get some kind of big robot fight, and I'm a sucker for a big robot fight. So I mean, it might stick around just for that.
Robot fights assemble. Time just go battle robot mode.
Go.
I know you're a sucker for that.
You know me, man.
Well, that's it for our books for the week. We flew. We're doing pretty good about being snappy about these now.
Dude,
we've been doing this. We've been doing the weeklies now for I don't know how long at this point, but we've been doing the bi-weeklies for a while, so we're pretty snippy about this. But we're moving on to next week's polls. Absolute Superman #2 is out. I know you enjoyed the first issue, so we'll see what issue 2 brings out. Action Comics 1078. The weekly run is still going on from Mark Waid and Birds of Prey 16. And the Ultimates number 7. Did you read Ultimate 6 yet?
Oh crap! Did I? The last one that I read was with Hulk, and Hulk just like smashes all of them. Was the
Yes.
last one I
Okay.
did. So
Yeah,
that's
that was like
6.
the thing where you had the big spoiler for anyone who doesn't want to know. Tony Stark is quote unquote dead.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
read
we'll
that.
see if that actually stays that way,
Mm-hmm.
or we
Yo,
get
that
AI
issue was
Tony, or he brings back to life.
crazy.
Who knows? But that was a big finale to that issue. So we'll see where we go from here, because this Ultimates book has blown me away. I know it's blown you away, both from a world building point of view, but also just in intimate character growth, with the Doom issue, with the Hawkeye issue, with the She-Hulk issue. It's been, banger after banger, as we say. But then we had that big conclusion with 6 that had a huge moment in there. So, guys, go pick those up. Go check those out, because those are my polls for next week. TJ, what are yours?
Well, first of all, I just want to say really quickly, Absolute Superman. Didn't get a chance to talk about that, but loved it. So good. I cannot wait for number 2. But for me, besides the ones that you already have, because we have a lot of the same ones, I have Wolverine number 4, which shout out Wolverine, because it was the number 3 top sold book last week. Shout out Martin Kokolo, artist on that book. And I've also got NYX number 6, another book I've been really loving. Avengers number 21, which I'm a little behind on Avengers, so I'm not sure what's going on. But Storm is in the cast now, which I love that. And we got X-Men number 8. Again, I've been talking about it pretty much every week. I'm really into the X-Men line right now. I'm really enjoying pretty much everything from the Ashes line. Like I said before, NYX probably my favorite, Uncanny my second. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of X-Men, I really couldn't recommend any of the titles more. Like I said, if you're a fan of any of the characters coming out, definitely pick it up. The Storm solo series absolutely rips. First 2 issues are out of that. So yeah, good time for comics, man. There's so many, like, there's always so many good books coming out, right? But I feel like right now we're kind of like, we're in a special moment right now, like with the Ultimate Universe, the Absolute stuff. Like, it's a very, very interesting time for comics right now. And for people out there watching, listening to this, maybe you're not like reading comics like crazy like we are. Now's the time. Now is the time to go to your shop, get your pull list ready. If you've been, kind of hesitant to jump into the world of comics, now is the time for sure.
And I know we don't talk a whole lot about the Energon universe stuff, but that has been huge as
Yes.
well. The TMNT books have been great too. So it's not just like, we mostly talk big two, but also a lot of the indies like from Boom or Mad Cave or Vault. But the books from Image as well have been superb. So, there's a story out there for everyone. And at least for me, when it comes to the big two, like the Absolute and Ultimate books have, I hate to say saved, but have really brought me back heavy into the DC and Marvel side. Like, if it wasn't for the Ultimate books, I do not know how many Marvel comics I'd be picking up right now. I'll be dead honest. I really don't know, outside of maybe 1 or 2. But the Ultimate books, I am fully in on all of them. And then DC, because of the Absolute line and because of the All In initiative, it's been like a tsunami of DC books, especially this month, in October and in November. But that was the whole intention behind it, was to really hit you with a whole new fresh wave of DC titles. And I think they in particular have killed it in the best way.
Agreed.
So there you go. Those are our polls for next week. We will be talking about the majority of those. If there's any books you'd like us to talk about, let us know. And we will try to read those as well and chat about those. But until next time, keep an eye out for some more interviews. As we mentioned, we had an interview with Mark Waid, Kelly Thompson, Philip Kennedy Johnson. We're going to be interviewing more people within the comic book scene who are writers and artists, but also people maybe a little bit outside of the comic book scene who are still very connected to the comic book space. So keep an eye out for that as well. As always, go to your local comic shops. Until next time.